because it's made of a material and it has been prepared with gesso. I'm just going real slow. And I'm going to just outline, which we talk about in our classroom. If you feel more comfortable and you need to be wherever your water is, you can always turn your canvas, okay? And I'm continuing to outline my color. All right, I'm just filling this in. Now, you are here to spend time with your child. If at any time you want to continue and not watch the video, you're more than welcome to do that. And like I said, I will take my time so you will feel comfortable with this. All right, so now I'm going to turn it back around and I have the outside outlined. Then I'm just going to go back over, be aware of your hand. I like outlining it, and you see how I'm also painting it in the direction of how, like the pumpkin. We talk about drawing spheres in here, and when you do your shading line, you want to always go with the direction to make it look more realistic. So I'm kind of going on the outside, and see how it's the direction of the pumpkin. And once again, look at how I'm using my brush strokes. Then I'm going to go to the second one, going again on the outside. You want to make sure that you cover the canvas, but do not keep going over and over on that same area because the paint will not be allowed to dry. And what we'll do is we'll do some of this pumpkin, and then we can come back and revisit it because it's going to have to dry, and we will get up and get cookies and punch. If you do get up and get cookies and punch, please be careful that you don't spill them on your beautiful paintings. Now I'm going to turn my canvas around again, and then I'm going to outside. I'm not using a bunch of paint. You see how I have hardly used any? And you can actually rotate your paintbrush around if you have extra paint on it. Remember, I like to outline that first. You don't want it really thick. And I'm lifting the paintbrush. We also talk in the classroom about it being a ballerina slipper, where you are very carefully dipping this in. Okay. Then I'm going to the last part of my pumpkin. Now I will do the basic part of this project. If you want to add more detail, I tell the kids that in my classroom, please be creative. I want you to do what makes you happy. Now if you look, that's not a lot of paint, okay? Ooh, very nice. Now I will clean my paintbrush. Be aware of where the water is. I'm going to stir it around, leave the cup on the table. If you want to help your student, your child, you can. Lift it up, looks like the paint's off. Use the lip, dry it on my paper towel, make sure it's not wet, okay? The next color that I would do would be the stem. You can either use brown or green, or you can even mix. This is your own plate. I'm going to use green. Be aware, remember that this is wet. You might want to turn it around. Outline it again, just like I showed you. It helps you control your paint a little bit. You know, I've been painting for a long time. Was a little girl when I became an artist and loved art. And you want to be aware of not going into that pumpkin, okay, if possible. The nice thing about paint, you can always try to repair it. And that's all I need is that little bit of green. Now later, I will show you once this is dry, you can also add a vine. So I'm going to go in again, clean my paintbrush, and we're going to get the one coat on everything, and then that's when we will get up. Now I already have my background line. This is where you choose what you want to have. I want this to be blue. So the first thing that you do that I've taught you, if you remember from what we've done, I'm going to outline it. So I'm going to outline the pumpkin, but I'm also going to start right here. And you decide if you want to take that line. I like to take it all the way on the edge of the canvas. Okay? And you're going to do it light. And we have flat brushes as well. I would suggest outlining with the round brush. Okay? Being very delicate, and get it in as close as you can, as long as this paint is not wet. That's what you have to be careful of. If you touch this orange, like I said, I've been painting for a long time, and acrylics dry very quickly. But if you touch this orange and it's wet, you might smear, okay? Smear your paint. If you do smear your paint, just stop. You don't keep trying to paint over it, and then remember, okay, well, after that's dry, I can probably come back and fix it, okay? Now this outer part is dry. You can also check your paintbrush. On mine it is, okay? Check your paintbrush and make sure you're not getting, if I had orange on here and I was, oh gosh, I need to clean this, pause it. Now see how I'm just outlining around my pumpkin. Do you also see, we've been talking about this in class, and this is a great example. The complementary colors, I've showed your children, some of your children, the video on complementary colors, and it's the puppet, and it's red. Maybe they've talked to you about the videos. I like to use videos when I teach. Complementary colors help make a contrast. And orange complementary color is actually blue. And you see how that pumpkin is really starting to come out and pop, is what we like to say as artists. And it makes it stand out. Do you see how I have my canvas up like this? Like I said, I'm an experienced painter. If you want to do that, just be careful. It makes it easier for you to see the video, but it also makes it easier for me to get around. We also have paper that is on your table. So if you get some on the table, that's okay. And there we go. And now it takes some time. You know, like I said, we're taking our time getting this done. Now, this is when, if you wanted to, and this is a nice big round brush, you can paint with the flat brush. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going around the edge, okay? Now, I like to use every single little bit of paint, so I would just go ahead, and I have a lot of extra paint that's on that edge there. You can smooth this out. Now, that paintbrush is pretty good. I'm going to actually clean the brush. You never want to leave the brushes in the water, remember. I'm going to clean this brush. Oh, there's still a little bit of blue. See how it was blue? Go on the lip, and I dry it. When we reshape a brush, we just very delicately, and you can just set that here tonight. This is when you would go in, and we have the outline, and then I would switch, and I would switch to the flat brush. I also like to use just the edge of the paint, and I don't get a lot of paint on my paintbrush, okay? And you want to make sure, like I said before, that you are not dipping your arm in this paint, okay? And I'm going to tip it up because I like for it to come all the way off the edge. And if you need more paint, please raise your hand. We have people that are going to be here to help you. We should have some National Honor Society students that will be helping, and we might even have some teachers. Now, do you see how you have the white that is still, you can see it? You do want to make sure you cover it, but if you like it where it's not covered, like I said, this is your project, then leave it uncovered. We are doing the first coat. If we have time, we will go back in and add a second coat. You can get these kinds of paints at Walmart. Remember, they're called acrylic, and they will be in the art department. And then I'm coming into that edge. The reason why I like to outline is that way you're not going to risk getting that pumpkin colored in blue. I really like this blue. Your blue might be a little different. Uh-oh, did you see what I did? I just splattered. I have to be careful that we don't splatter anything there. Now, almost done. And this is when we will come to our stopping point once we do this whole part here. I'm hoping that my video hasn't stopped. This might be a long video that I'm going to record here. You also don't want to leave clumps. Okay, spread those out. You see how I just flipped my brush? So I'm doing the front side of the brush, very delicately lifting it, not shoving it across the canvas, and then turning it the other direction. And I'm going to have this all filled in, and then I will make a separate video to show you how to make this into a jack-o'-lantern. And if you look, you can actually see, because see, I can't add more paint to that pumpkin until it's dry. And you see how I've just gone all the way across my canvas, and I'm filling in my background. I like the blue against the orange. Like I said, you could choose whatever you want, but I really like the blue. Then I'm going to go in and I'm just going to go and do the edges. Be aware of where the paint is, okay? Because you don't want to get it all over you. And then I'm going to start up here. I think you can see it. Do the edge of the canvas. I'm filling it in. Don't go over and over, remember? And see, look, I still have that same amount of blue, and I've done my whole first coat. I don't like to put a lot of paint on your plate because less is more. We can always add more paint, okay? So there is that. And then I will put this down. Clean my brush. Be aware of the water, so I'm not splattering anything. My water is starting to turn blue. That's okay. Check on the side. It still has paint on it. And then I'm going to continue. Still has paint. And it's got a lot of paint. Blue is very hard to clean off the paintbrush. And if you need new water, like I said, we can get you some more water. Then I'm going to dry it, reshape it, and let it just sit here. Now I'm going to go back in, and you're going to decide what color you want. I like gray. I see the gray sitting here. I could do brown. I could do green. You know what? I think I'll go ahead and do green. So I'm going to go do green. Change my mind. I do that a lot in here. And I'm going to set it on its side. I have the same thing. I'm going to very carefully, because this blue might be a little bit wet. This is risky here. We might need to take a break and have our cookies and canvas, have our cookie break before then, because I don't want you to ruin it. And I'm very gently just doing that edge, outlining it, going against my pumpkin, trying not to go over the orange, okay? And lifting that paintbrush, and once again, I'm using the round brush, going around the pumpkin, getting in those lines there. Now you can really see the curve line that's starting to come up. And you notice, of course you can't, maybe you can see it, there was a little bit of pencil. I didn't worry about erasing those extra lines. And once I start painting, you can't see the pencil anymore. Okay, here we go. Going up against there, all the way around, and we are outlining the pumpkin, going all the way to the edge. I've got a little bit of blue on my fingers, you can see, so you have to be careful, because if I was to touch this, I would get blue on my pumpkin. And I'm going all the way down. The next step would be to go off the canvas. Now, I got a little bit of blue on my paintbrush, so I touched that there, so make sure that I didn't have it on my brush. Do the edge. Now I'm going to use the rest of my paint that's on my brush so I can use it up, clean it, okay, reshape it, go back to my flat brush, all right? Then I'm going to start in the same thing that you did before. Now if you want your lines to go this direction, I think I'm going to do that. So now I'm going to change, because this is the grass, the other part was the sky. You can go either direction. I just would not have a combination. Choose what direction side you want and then go the same way. Kind of like the wood grain of something. If you've heard people, when you sand it, you go with the grain, not against it. This direction's actually quicker. Now I'm out of green. Somebody would come around. I would raise my hand. They would give me green. And I would just finish this up. And after this is when we will hopefully take our break and take your cookies. Please only take one cookie to start with and get a drink. Be careful. Also, I like to have my kids go around and visit the museum. That means you could walk around carefully with your hands behind your back, and we only say nice things, and visit the museum and see what beautiful artwork everybody has been doing. Put it on its edge. Now I'm coloring, I'm painting all the way, and it has a lip on it. You might get a little bit of paint on your fingers. That's okay. It will wash up. Just try not to get on your clothes. And I'm going all the way around. I'm so excited to see what this is going to look like when it's done. But like I said, this is the first coat. We will be doing 2 coats, and I will show you how to make a jack-o'-lantern. So that's the End of the first video.